Hello, my name is Gabrielle String, and on behalf of my colleagues, I'm going to present data to you from a systematic review that we conducted looking at surface contamination, stability, and disinfection data related to SARS-CoV-2. So we know that WASH is critical in COVID response, particularly looking at hygiene, including hand washing and surface disinfection. And WHO and CDC have recommended surface disinfection protocols, such as to clean with soap and water and then disinfect with sodium hypochlorite or other EPA-approved disinfectant. We were interested in understanding how WASH programs can interrupt transmission of SARS-CoV-2. And so to conduct our systematic review, we downloaded articles from two databases, the NIH COVID-19 portfolio and the CDC COVID-19 research articles downloadable database. We defined a PCOS framework, including pre-identifying WASH interventions that we were looking for in the research articles, such as hand washing, surface disinfection, mask disinfection, water and wastewater treatment. We assessed bias by whether it was peer-reviewed or preprint, and then we extracted data where available and converted units. From our review, we did two different downloads of the databases, garnering just over 96,000 articles to screen. On title and abstract screening, we excluded articles if they weren't related to our WASH interventions or they indicated a lack of primary data. We had 365 articles then that we screened for full text. And at full text, we excluded articles if they were not related to our selected interventions, had no primary data, or did not report on their outcomes. Additionally, we added 33 articles from reference training for a total of 142 articles, of which 78 were related to surface disinfection, which I'm going to present on today. Generally, our evidence can be summarized by looking at fomite transmission. We had 35 studies looking at the contamination of surfaces, 16 that looked at the stability of viruses on the surfaces. We're missing data about how SARS-CoV-2 could transmit from surfaces. And then we had 27 studies looking at surface disinfection. Another gap that we noted was missing or limited data related to water and wastewater treatment or hand washing. So 35 studies indicated what surfaces SARS-CoV-2 was found on in testing. I'll note that healthcare surfaces were sampled more than any other setting, with the highest portion of positive surfaces coming from utensils, soft bedding, and high-touch electronics. All of the surface contamination sampling was done looking for presence or absence of SARS-CoV-2 RNA and didn't test for viral infectivity. How long does it persist on surfaces? So 16 studies looked at 9 different organisms, predominantly looking at coronaviruses, including 7 studies that use SARS-CoV-2, but also some bacteriophages. And then 29 different surfaces were tested in this testing. These were predominantly non-porous surfaces, such as steel and plastic, but some studies also looked at cloth or paper. All of these studies did test for viral or surrogate infectivity and or viability. And then looking at how long it persists from 7 studies, we can see a range of half-life across steel, plastic, and nitrile gloves. The key takeaway is that as temperature and humidity increases, the half-life of SARS-CoV-2 decreases. And then how do we disinfect? So from 9 studies, looking at suspensions of SARS-CoV-2, we found that heat can reduce by greater than 6 log reduction. Hand rub or hand sanitizer log reduction was dependent on contact time, and a xenon arc lamp and freezing were not effective at reducing SARS-CoV-2 in suspension. And that reduction is really dependent on dosage and contact time. And then furthermore, on surfaces, there are only 3 studies that tested SARS-CoV-2 surface disinfection, looking at simulated sunlight for at least 60 minutes of contact time had greater than 4 log reduction, as well as UVC irradiation for 2 minutes of contact time. But I'll note that SARS-CoV-2 surface disinfection results are limited. So key takeaways are that there's an inability to align where contaminated surfaces are with the survivability data with how to conduct effective disinfection. We have a knowledge gap on phone-like contribution to SARS-CoV-2 transmission, a need to standardize test methods for comparability of data, and further research needed on hand washing, surfaces, and disinfectants relevant to non-healthcare facility contexts, and verification of the EPA N list. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time. You can reference our manuscripts at the bottom of this slide, and the one on the right is specific to mask disinfection and reuse, which is available as a preprint article.